we have the insert tab. Under this insert tab is very important, and there's another tab we're going to be working with. It's called the format shapes tab. The format shape or the format tab is actually contextual. Contextual in the sense that it's only when you select an object, or you select a picture, or you select a chart. Objects here are independent elements that can be modified. So objects can be a text box, objects can be a shape, it can be a line, it can be curves, it can be charts, it can be pictures that you insert. Okay, so that's exactly how it is. Now under the insert we have pictures, but we're going to go over to the shapes. So we have shapes here. These are different kinds of shapes. Like you can see my recently used shapes here. I have lines, and I have rectangles, I have basic shapes, I have block arrows, I have equations, and I have flowcharts, stars and banners, and callouts. Now what you need to do here is that anytime you want to use any of the shape here, all you have to do is to click. Once you click, you just pick it. You can now click and drag to draw the shape, and that's what you would have there. You will be able to click and drag to draw the shape. So now that I have here, I've drawn this particular shape. Now you see that's how it is. Now you've seen the notes. The notes are just these dots that we have here. They are very important because it is what you use to resize the object. Whether you resize diagonally or vertically or horizontally, you can resize just like what we have here. So again, to get the shapes, we go to insert. From insert, we click on shapes, and then we pick that. Now, so if I pick a shape, say like the rectangle tool, and I want to draw a perfect shape, like a perfect square, I'll hold down the shift key. So you press and hold down the shift key, it's going to give you a perfect square. All right, so that's one thing about it. Now, or say you want to just draw a perfect rectangle, you can just hold down the control key, or you just manually control it the way you want it to be. So now that we have this shape, like I told us, we see the contextual tab. Now we now have what we call the drawing tools, and then we have the shape format here. Now on this shape format, we have the shape fill. So I can actually choose a color, the fill color. A shape can have different colors. So we have the shape color here. I can pick a color like this. Again, I have the shape outline. But before the shape outline, let's look at the shape styles. The shape styles are just pre-designed formats you can pick for your shape. So the moment you pick any one here, that automatically is what you have on the shape or for the shape. So if I pick this one here, is what you have for the shape. If I pick this particular one here, is what you have for the shape, and that's exactly what you see we have here. All right, so if I pick this, that's exactly what you have for the shape. Now again, I can just pick any one there, and that's just it. So I wouldn't need to format this shape again, except maybe there are other things I want to do. But again, I can just go over it. Let me undo, Ctrl Z to return it, Ctrl Z to return it. Now here I have the shape fill. Now under the shape fill, we have different colors, automatic, and I have theme colors, I have standard colors, and then that. So under the theme colors here, I can just pick any color. The standard colors, I have different colors here. But when you say more fill colors, you're actually picking more fill colors. You're picking more fill colors, so it allows you see different colors here, just like what we have here. I'll just pick this color, and that will just be it. So I'll pick this color and I click OK, and you can see what I have on this shape here. Now under the more fill colors, there are certain things I want us to take note of. You know, colors are just a combination of, these are all you have a combination of different colors that form a color. But in computer, when you work with graphics, there are what we call color models, and there are codes that represent a particular color. Now under the standard here, I can just pick a color and say, okay, I want to pick this color here, and that's just be it. I will just go back here, more fill colors, I pick any other color I want to use, like what I have here. And if I say more fill colors, I can go to custom and make the color either light or thick. So you can see what we have here. We make the color either light or darker. So you see what I have. I can still go back there under shapes, and under shapes I go to more fill colors, and under more fill colors I have here the standard. On the standard here, you can either make the color transparent. When you make a color transparent, it allows other colors beneath to show. If you have the colors, you know, overlapping each other. So now, for example, now if I want to make this transparent, I can just click OK, and you can see it's transparent. That's why you can see on my shape here, the sheet is actually showing, the grid lines is showing. Let me increase it. The percentage can be any number you put can be the percentage, and that's exactly what you have here. Now, and it can be printed out exactly the way it is. So if I go to move fill colors, I can return the transparency to 0. Now again, I have the custom. Now under the custom here, there's this particular part here where we have the color model, whether it is RGB or HSL. But one thing is that if you paste what we call the hex, the code here will always overlap it, and this is a very important aspect. I like to just explain this. Let me open my browser. I like to share my browser screen with us. Then I'm going to show us one thing, especially those of us doing financial analysis where we build dashboards. There are things we use. Sometimes when we are building dashboards, we pick a particular color theme, because colors are very important in data visualization, and data visualization is a very important aspect of data analysis. Now let me share my screen. I want to share my browser. I'm going to show a screen with us. So just hold on. I want to show us this screen. It's very important that I share with us. Okay, so now, like what I have here, you can see on my browser now if you see what I have there on this browser, this is one of the sites that I do use for my colors very well. It's called colors. Like the colors is not like the normal colors, it's COOLORA.co. Now here you have different colors, like very many different colors. You can start generating, different palette. Palette is just a combination of colors. If I click on trending palette, you find them. So I can just go here, you find different colors. Why do I usually come here? Because colors is very important. You have to make sure that you work with the right colors. So working with the right colors is as important as what you have, because most times when you're doing the visualization on your chart, the colors also communicate. So there are companies that has their own colors. They just want the colors to be their own color. They want the colors to be their unofficial color. So sometimes you're like, especially if you are somebody that has not been working with colors, you're like, which color can go? Can this? So when you come here, like if you see what I have here, anytime you point your mouse pointer, is displaying the color. That's what we call the color code. So you can pick the color code here if there's a particular color I want to use. Now if I'm building a dashboard, for instance, or I'm just doing different charts and I want it to be of different colors, then I want the colors to be related to each other. I don't want it to turn color riot, because colors are very important. I can just click here, like for example, when I just click now, the moment I click now, the color has been copied to the clipboard. That's the color code. So I come back to Excel. When I go to Excel, I go to shapes. From shapes, I click on more fill colors, and from colors I'll come to custom. From custom, all I have to do is also select this here, and I press Ctrl V. The moment I press Ctrl V, I press enter. That becomes the color. You can see what we have here. Let me remove the transparency. So you can see exactly what we have here. So I've been able to have that color. So assuming this is the color I want to use, for instance, let me try another color. Assuming this is the color I want to use, so I can just pick this here, and the moment I copy that, so all you have to do, you can begin to copy the numbers. You can paste it on maybe something like I have here. I have it here. I can just paste it on Notepad and then be pasting the different colors and that. But or you just copy it there to Excel, and you go to shapes. From shapes, and then you click on more fill colors. From more fill colors, you just select it and you press Ctrl V. You press enter. You have to press enter. So this becomes the color. So what does it mean? If I'm going to be working with two different colors, for example, now I'm duplicating this object and I'm just resizing it to be smaller, and I want to use another color, so I'm taking it down to this point. I'll have to go back to the add colors again. I want to pick another shade of that color. As if I want to pick this now, I'll go back to Excel and I'll go to shape. From shapes, fill, more fill colors. I'll just paste the color. So just highlight this and press enter. You can see the color I have here. So that's exactly how it is with the colors. Now let me go back fully to Excel. Now, so colors are very important. I need to just take time to explain this. Now, let's move on. After then, that's the fill color, the shape fill. Under the shape fill, we still have other options, like the picture. So that means you can actually fill an object with a picture. You can see what I have here. You just need to click work offline. If you're not getting pictures online, you can just select anyone. Let me use the one of our president, and you see the picture I have here. So that can just be a picture for your shape, and it goes into any shape irrespective of how the shape is. The picture will just be that way irrespective of how the shape is. Now the thing here is that this can also be changed, so we can still go back here and then we click on picture. You pick another picture if so you want to use picture, but I don't want to use picture again on this time, so I can still go back. We have the gradient. The gradient allows you to be able to combine different colors. So let's go over it. Now I can pick any one. These are presets. You can see the dark variations, and I have the light variations, and I have no gradient. But if I click on more gradient, I actually pick this, and you see it's giving me what we call the task pane here. So this task pane will now allow us to be able to select various options, like you see what we have here now. So if I come down to gradient, from gradient I begin to choose maybe different gradient here. These are just different colors, just like what we saw with the object style. But if I do not want to use that, that's the preset. I can come down to the type and choose whether it's going to be radial or rectangular or patch or linear. So assuming I want to use linear, for instance, I can choose the direction of the linear. Now from this, I can now begin to click to remove all of this, because each of these gradient stop represents a color. So I can just pick this now and I delete it. Okay, this one has two colors, so that should be two. So I can pick the first color here and I can leave this other color. You can see exactly what we have here now, and that will just be your object. So if you want to change it and say, okay, let it be radial, you can see what we have on the radial. And if you go to the direction, you have different directions, and that will just be it. What if I want the blue to be outer and the other one inside? You just click and drag it under this end. You drag this other one to this side, and then you will have it. So you'll be able to control it at this point, and that will just be it. So whatever you want to use, you can use it. If I want to add more colors, you just double click. The moment you double click, you add the gradient stop. Each of the gradient stop will now represent a color, will now have one color, so you can do that. And when you do that, you can even make one point to be transparent and another. So there are options here. I can make that particular point to be transparent. You can see exactly what we have. That point alone is transparent, or probably this point also transparent, and you can see exactly what we have. And all of this can be printed out exactly the way it is. It can form part of your dashboard. It can be part of your chart. I'm going to show us how to format chart. So that's exactly how it is when it comes to the gradient. You can change the different styles here and the direction, whether it's going to be rectangular or it's going to be part, or it's going to be linear or it's going to be radial. You can just do all of those things, and there you go. So you see what we have here. Now that was the shape view, and of course we're working with the gradient. Now let's look at the texture before we just close it out and then go to something else. Now on the texture simply means that you have textured background that you can use for your object. So in other way around, even if I have a chart, let's say let me generate random numbers and let's use this for a chart. So let's say team A and team B. All right, so let's say team A is random numbers run between, hope we have not forgotten this, run between 10 to 56. So 10, 56, we'll press enter. So we can just copy this, press shift down arrow key and paste it. There are different ways to copy formulas. So for here now, we'll just say run between, or probably let's use the run function. So we close this, run will just generate, we press enter. All we have to do here is to double click. So now we have this. Now let's assume we want to plot a chart here. So let's go to shape, insert. We can use recommended charts. Let's see what we'll have under recommended charts. Okay, this is giving us like the scatter plot. Okay. So let's leave it at the scatter plot and leave it. So now you see exactly what we have here. I can just remove my anything. Let me just leave it so that we learn from it. Now, so like here now on the chart also we have similar thing. So I can go to format. From format we can now choose the shape, and you can see the shape I have now for the main outer part of the chart, and that would just be for my chart. So it could just be this color, it could just be any of this color, it can just be more fill color that I'm just using. I say, okay, this is the color, but I want it very light. I just click and drag it up, and I want it transparent. I can just control it here, and that will just be it. What if I want to change these grid lines here? Okay, I want these lines to change. I come down to shape line. From the shape outline, I'm making it this particular line now, and I want to do the same thing for this one here. So I'll do the same thing here. You can see exactly what we have here. What if I want the lines to be thicker? All of that can as well, be done, and that will just be it. So the shaping is very important. The colors are very important, because there are sometimes you just choose to, and there are sometimes you may not necessarily want it. And even when you have that, let me redo. Even when you have it that way, like for example now, if I want to say, okay, at this point, or just here now, and I want to change the color for this side, I can still change the the color and give it any other color you want to be, and that will just be it. So what if I want to do some other thing? What if I want to even do for this, because this is a text box, you can as well, you know, do it, and then you have it that way. So whatever you want to add, they are very important, and it applies to the same thing. All right, so now let's get back to the business. Let me open a new worksheet. Okay, so basically there are times that you may want to draw shapes, like you just want to draw. For example, now let's assume that I'm building something like or I just want to say total count. So I can come down here and I say, okay, I'm holding down the shift key now because I want to draw a perfect circle, right? And the perfect circle here, I want it to just have the style. If I want to use any of the style here, no. Or I want it to just have one color. So let me change the color to this color that we picked. And I don't want it to have a line, so I can say no outline. Now under the outline we have the same thing. We have the line width simply means the thickness of the line, and the dashes simply means the dash style here. So these are different line styles there, how you want it to be. I'm going to use it on a chart. I'm going to show us how I use it in one of the dashboard that we built recently. Now under that we have the shape effect. So under shape effects, we now have different kinds of effects. So these are effects. This one is a preset. You have different kinds of effects. We have the shadow, we have the reflection, we have the glow, we have the soft edges, the bevel, and others. So if I want to leave it at this point, let's assume something like this or something like this, I can just leave it. And you can see the beauty of this thing that I have now. Let me show something. So I can now say something like okay, let me pick a text box and show us how we apply it. Let's assume now I want to just say total count, or I just want to say the count, whatever you want to call it, you know, it can just be it. Now how did I get the text box? I go to insert. From insert shapes, you'll find the text box, or anytime you click on any object you find it under shape format here. So now I'm giving this, you can do any formatting. The beauty of having your text inside the text box is that it allows you to be able to control it. You can move it out you want it to be anyhow. So for example, I'm taking this count here and you can see exactly the way it's showing here, but I don't want it to be this way. Why? Because the text box has a fill color. I just simply want to remove the fill color. So I'll go to shape format and I'll go to shape fill. From shape fill, I'll go to no fill. It has a line. If I click now, the line is still there. I don't want the line, so I'll click on the text box again. Just click on the border here. You go to shape outline and then we'll click on no outline. So I have it this way, but I want to change the font, so I'll go to the font and then I'll pick the font, any font I want to use. Let's say I want to use TW Sense, and I press enter. So I can bold it, I can increase the font, and I can reduce the font. So like what I have here now, I can now centralize it. So let's assume this will be the count, so I just keep this as the count. Then I'll give it a font color, maybe white. White will be nice because of, you know, this background. Now I want to now have the count again, where I will input a formula and it will just be changing based on the count that we have. So how would I do that? First of all, since I would want to have another text box and repeat the same thing here, now there are different things you can do to save time. You know, it's all about speed and accuracy. I do not need to go over to the entire thing again and start drawing that same text box. So all I have to do here is I can duplicate this text box. So how do we duplicate objects? Now remember, I told us that when you click on an object, you have what we call the nodes. This node allows you to resize the object. But to duplicate an object, there are two ways. One, you can click on the object that's to select and press Ctrl D on the keyboard. So when you click on the object and press Ctrl D, the object becomes 2. That's one way. Another way is to click on the object, then you hold down the Control key, and if you notice, you'll see a little plus on the mouse pointer. As I click and drag, it's already showing me here. So you see exactly what I have here now. So at this point I have 2 objects, and you can see what I'm going to do with this object. Now there's another thing we do. We can also resize an object. How do we resize? We resize objects using the resize handles, which are the nodes, NODES. So now I can just click here to resize the object diagonally. But sometimes while resizing, you may notice that the object is not giving exactly what you want. So we can resize with the proportionality, that is maintaining the appropriate shape of the object even when it is being resized, either that the size is increasing or reducing. So how do we do that? Again, with this time around, we hold down the control and shift key, but you're going to bring the mouse pointer to any of the angle dimension here. So you hold down the control and shift key. You hold down the control and shift key, then you click and drag. So you can see exactly what I have here now. I'm resizing, but you have to hold down the control and shift key. Again, you release the mouse before you release the control and shift key. So I can bring this guy and keep here. For instance, I just resize it now, bringing it to keep here. So I can now go over to the color and find a similar color to it, probably another color, something like this. That's shape outline. Let me go to the view, or maybe something like this, or maybe I go over to this one, or even if I want to pick this one, I can go to more colors and then look at another shade of that color, and you can see exactly what I have here. Now I can send this object to back. We have what we call order. So under order, we have here, under the shape format, we have the arrange. So I can send this object backward, and you can see the object goes backward. The backward doesn't mean back, it goes at the back of the previous object. So at this point, you see exactly what I have here, and this is what I wanted to do. I can easily just leave it this way, or I just make it white, or I just make it green, or any other color, and then that would just be what I want, and if that's what I've been looking for. Again, so let me duplicate this so that I will work with it. Now that I have this object now, I can let me delete this one. So I have these two objects, and you can see sometimes it may not be properly arranged, so you can select two objects to arrange it. Now, how do you select multiple objects? To select an object, you just click. But what about two or more objects? You hold down the shift key and click. And there's another way to select object. You can also do what we call the marquee select. For the marquee select, you need to go to home. From home, you go to select, find and select, and then you come to select object. So when you click on that, your mouse pointer changes to the normal mouse. You can see exactly what I have here. So you can now click and drag over the objects that you want to select. So from here now, we'll go to shape format, and then I'll go to align to the center, go to align, and align to the middle, and that will be properly aligned. Now, again, how do we make use of this, and how does it apply to what we are doing? Remember, here we talked about the account, so I can just, let me duplicate this text box and come down here. Why do I need to duplicate this text box? Because I want the text box to have the same formatting like this other one. So here I can now say it equals to sum. You see, I'm entering the formula in the text box. Let me just go find the sum here. Remember how we used to find sum? We'll just select this place and press alternate equals, and then we press enter. So we're going to pick the sum for team A. Alright, so this is the sum now for team A. Let's bold it. Probably we insert a row. So Control Shift and plus key, we insert a new row, and this will be the sum. So I want to carry that total there. So now I'm going to come to this and press it equals to, I come over to sheet 1 and click on this cell here. So when I click on this cell, I press enter. So I click on it here. It equals to, I come over to the sheet 1 and I press enter. So now it gives me the total, and you can see exactly what I have here. That gives me the total for this one. Let me reduce. I like to just reduce the decimal. So let me go and reduce the decimal. I don't want to keep all of this decimal here. Probably 2 decimal places. And you can see exactly what I have. So whatever I'm doing over there now is actually working on this other side. Now, so what it means is that I've been able to have the total, and I can increase the font size. It does not really matter the fonts that I use here, and you can see, and that will just be it. So let me just resize it a little, select both in, come to shape format, align to the center, align to the middle, and make this guy white. So if I make this guy white now, it stays. Sometimes in your Excel, you may just need to build something like this, and that's part of your report. And again, here, let's go over to this one and begin to make changes. Of course, you know, these are auto-generated numbers. So if you press enter now, it has changed to 6.52. Let's go over. It has also changed to 6.25. And that is exactly headed. So if I double click here and press enter, now 5.25, it has also changed. How did we do that? Let's do it again with this particular one. First of all, we had the text box, so we remove everything that we have in the text box, or even if those things are there, we have to click on the text box. Then we go to the formula bar and type it equals to. That means we want to reference another cell, so we can now say it equals to the value that we have in this cell here. We now click on this value here and then we press enter. So when we press enter, that becomes the value here. That we can add it up and increase the font size and do whatever we want to do with it, and then we bold it, and you see exactly what we have here. All right, so these are one of the different ways that you can just engage this. So I can just say align center and align middle, just like what I have here. So if you notice what I have here, I've been able to have this, and the good thing is that just like what you have here, even if you move it and group it, we can group it and move it and keep it some other place. It does not matter. Excel will still respect the decision. I can see I can group it now, so I'm grouping it. Even when it is grouped, let's go and make changes here. Now it has changed to 4.53. That's also changed here. So now this will just be like, it depends on our own. So if we are taking count, sometimes we use it in dashboards, like you will be saying something like in dashboards like total sales and total net profit, you know, and all of those things, and that's exactly how it is. But let's go over to a few more other things about drawing before we look at one thing like that, and then we move on. So now we go back to the insert again. Under the insert, remember that's what we've been working on. So we have the shape there, but there are effects we can use. Some effects, remember the one I used was preset, so I can use a shadow. I may choose to put a shadow here, unlike this. So I can come down here and I want to put a shadow. So this is also going to be my shadow, and the shadow, just like the way it is, it's nice. You can have it that way. Sometimes we have it, you know. For example, now if I wanted to make this white, let me make this white, and let's see what will happen. If I make this white automatic, and then I come down here, I can add shadow. Sometimes we use it to distinguish. You can see the distinguishing factor now. So I can now change this other one now to green. If I go to home, font color, I can now begin to use green. Maybe I want to use that same green, or probably the orange, and that will just be it. Now you see the beauty of that shadow. Let me zoom it so that we can see. You can see the beauty of the shadow. The shadow is making it, this one, to be spelled out here. There are certain things you can do with the shadow. Let me remove it, this particular one. I can say no shadow. So you see the beauty of this now, and this can just be part of your report, just like what you have here. Okay, so now I want to just do something here. I don't need these grid lines again, so let this be our team A and let this be our team B. So what do we do? I'll go to view, from view, and then I'll remove the grid line. So the grid lines is off. So for here now, remember this one has been grouped, so let's keep this guy here. How do we group this other one? Let's select all of them, holding down the shift key. We go to align center, we go to align middle, and then we go to grouping. Under group, we group it. Now I want these two to be aligned together, so I'll just select the two and align them to top. So align top, and then you see exactly what we have here. Now at this point, let me pick the text box here, so I can just click here to type maybe team A or team B, but I don't want to use the text box because we've already seen the text box. So let's learn something new. Let's go back to insert and use what we call the word art. The word art is simply an object made with text. So now here we come down to text here. From text, under insert, from text we have word art. Okay, so I'm going to, from the word art here, I can pick any one here. So from here, pick any one here. Now I'll give it a name. So let's call this one team A. Team A. So we call this team A. Now let's begin to format it. For the word art, it has a different formatting. Okay, it has a different option, not just we're coming down to, because if you choose this shape now, we're actually shaping the background there, but that's not what we want. Okay, so that's what I want to show us. And for the word art, you can change the font. That's a beautiful thing, but you can move it, and you can rotate it at any angle. You know, you cannot rotate the text that we normally type on the cell. All right, so we can just keep it here and just reduce the font size. If we so dim it that way, we'll just keep it here. We reduce the font size. Okay, so here I have team A. Now under this team A, now let's go to shape formats. Now if you can't find, if you see on this area, now we have with the word art style, so we can pick any style that we want, and that will just be the word art style. Will be any one that we want. You see the word art style. So under the word art style here, we have the text field, so we can now choose any object for the text or any color for the text field. So assuming I want to use this color now, for instance, and the text effect. Also the text outline, this one has a white outline, we can leave it that way, and then if we so want to change it, we can change it to any other outline we want it to be, if that's what I want, just like what I'm showing here. Let me zoom it so that we can see. So you can see how this my text is. It doesn't really look like the normal text. I can also go back there to that text field. I've done that. The text outline, I've done that. I can reduce the text outline by going to the weight and making it a little bit tiny. Again, I can go to the text effect, and maybe I want to make it like a reflection. I can make it a reflection, and you see exactly what I want. If I so want it to be, you know, sometimes I may not necessarily need it, and that would just be it. Okay. So you can just necessarily be it. Now, so like what we have here, I don't need the reflection, so I'll just leave this at this point. Now I need the same thing on this other side here. Needless of going to do the same thing, we'll just press Ctrl and Shift key and duplicate. Let's learn from that. Why did I press Ctrl and Shift key? There are two things. The Ctrl key duplicates the object. The Shift key constrain. So constrain means that it has restricts the movement of that object on that very plane or axis. That makes it to be same straight. So from here now, I can just, if I want to duplicate this object to this other side, but I want it to be on that same straight line, I'll hold down the Ctrl and the Shift key, then I click and drag. That will give me the constraint. So you see exactly what I have here, and then I just select this, I click here. We can go to shape outline, and then we'll align it to center. I'll do the same thing here, Shift key, and we'll go to align, we'll align it to center. Now why do we do this? So now we have for team A and team B. Let's go change this one here. We'll have to click on this text box and make changes. So we'll have to go to the formula bar and say equals to sheets, because that was team A. Okay, so we pick this. I think that's it for that, or we'll just leave it. Let me go pick for this particular one. This one should be team B. Okay, so let's change this. Team B, you have team B here, this team A. Under team A, the value has to change, so we can easily ungroup this. Let's go to group and ungroup it so that we can work with them independently. So for this, I'll just select and click on the formula bar, and then I'll go to is equals to sheet 1. I'll pick the total for that. I'll press enter. So again, but I want it to have the same formatting like this one. Let me ungroup this. I'll ungroup this. So I want it to have the same formatting with this. Instead of me to go start thinking what was the font size, what was the font style, I'll just click on this. I'll go to home. I'll pick the format painter, and then I'll click on this one here. You see exactly what I have. So all I have to do now is to change the font color to white, and that makes it easy for us. So it's to change the font color to white, so you can see exactly what we have here, and you'll just be seeing what we have here. So as it changes, everything will be updating. You can see the updates on my sheet. Now that's one way. Two, I'm showing us different ways we can engage this object. Now anytime we build dashboard, or sometimes we just develop a template for a client, we usually put our link to our site, or we put link to our page, or we put link for email. We can just place anything. So now we don't just copy the link and paste. For example, this is what we do. I do this often, so I can just say let's go to shapes. So shapes, and then I'm going to pick any shape this time around. I'll just click and drag here. Okay, so whatever I want it to be, it might not necessarily be a big deal. So let's pick any of these styles here. All right, so any of these styles here can just be if that's all, we use this blue here, and then I'll just add text here. So I can either use the text box, or you can right click on it and say edit text. And when you do that, the text will be highlighted. So here we'll just say visit our site, for example, or visit our page. So let's say visit our page, and that will just be it. So what do we do here? I'll just select that and then add this. So you can just add it. Sometimes you just want to add it on your own. I'm going to show us how to add URL now, the how to add links. So that this could just be it. We'll just reduce the size, and when we reduce the size, just like the way it is, I'll just find one place and keep it. So anybody that knows they want to go and click, when they say visit our page, the person will be thinking, okay, can click. Now how then do I actually click it? Okay, it could be that I have my URL. So let's assume I have my URL for our page is www.facebook.com facebook.com/ultratechsystems. So /ultratechsystems. So that could just be it, what I want to use. Okay, so I have the URL, for instance. Now, how would I add this? All I have to do here is to right click on this, and when I right click on it, I will click on link. The moment I click on link, it opens this particular insert hyperlink, or you press Ctrl K, it will take us down here. So here now I can link it to an existing document, I can link it to a browsed page, I can link it to recent file, I can link it to an email address, I can link it to a new document, and also place it on this document. You can also add the screen tip. If I so want to add the screen tip, I can add the screen tip. I can add the screen tip if I still want to add the screen tip. Now you know the screen tip now. So anytime they just take the mouse pointer to the object, it will just show, you know, the text, and that was exactly how it is. Now, so here I will just press Ctrl V and I click that. So I will just click OK. If I want to add the screen tip, let me just add it. So okay, so let's say check out our Facebook page. So I'll just have to check out our Facebook page and I'll click OK. So here I'll just click OK. Now what happened here is just that you can see my mouse pointer now. You've seen what happened there. Check out our Facebook page. So the moment I click now, definitely it's going to take us, it's going to open with the default browser and then take us to the page directly. So sometimes we add it to our email. If you want to do, you can see Ultra Text System. Let me share my entire window so that everybody can see the impact now, how that's going to work out. Okay, so let me share my entire screen. Let me to share my entire window now. Entire window. Okay, you can see my entire window now. I will just click on it here. The moment I click on it now, it's going to open the page automatically on its own. So it could just be a URL to a particular site. It could just be a registration form online. It could just be to an email. So the moment they just click on it, it's actually going to take them to this page now, and that will just be it. So that's exactly how it is. So this is where drawings comes in. You have definitely to do this. Formulas doesn't do this one. Formulas has its own limitation, and that's why we had to just come into this class now to say all this. Now if I see, anytime I bring my mouse pointer, it's already check out our Facebook page. So that's a screen tip, and we've been able to add that. So we just have to pick that. Now that's another different aspect of it. Let me show us another example. Now, as another example, if I have like this team A, team B here, let's go take another chart. This time I'm going to pick a column chart. Okay, probably let me change this one to a number that will correspond a little. So let's say something like 18. So I'll pick only for these two. I'll come down to charts. From charts here, I can pick these two charts. Okay, so good. The clustered column chart is okay. Now you see I have this chart here. Let's work on this chart. On this chart now, I can do a whole lot of things on this chart here. First, let me cut it to a Ctrl X. I'm taking it to a blank sheet now. So again, Ctrl V. We already know cut and paste. So here, I'll just delete. I don't want the chart title. If I don't want it, I can always put it on top here, or I just leave it. Here, I don't need the grid line. So there are different ways. Either you click on the lines and press delete, or you come down to the chart labels and go to grid lines and turn it off. I don't need that. Okay, so team A, team B, that's okay, but I do not need this color, right? I don't need this color here. So I don't even need this, the fill color. If I don't want the fill color, I'll still go to format. There are charts like that we do that way. I'll just go to format and say no fill color. So no fill color. Again, I'll go to my view. From view, I'll say take off my grid lines. So I'm going to take off my grid lines, but this is not the color I want. Sometimes that's why the color comes into play, because most times when we are doing these things, organizations have their own colors, and they like even their charts, everything to be uniform. It's going to be unique with the color of the organization, but you just have to be sure that you keep something with the right colors. So let's assume that I don't want to use this. How do we do? If you click on this chart now, you go to format. From format, you click on shapes. From shapes, you now pick a color. Oh, the color will actually pick for all, but that may not be what you want. So how do you do? If I want to pick a different color for team B, I'll just click. You have to click again. Now that I've clicked again, you can see it's only this particular bar that is selected. So I'll come down here and I'll go to this particular one, or probably I'm going to pick this, and that will just be it. What if I want to bring the two charts together? Okay, I can right click. Let's click out. I'll right click here and I'll click on format data series. On format data series, I can also deal with my gap width. So with my gap width here, I'm actually doing all of this here. You see exactly what I have here. That will just be for my gap, and I can close them up and do whatever I want to do with it. So if that's the case, you close them up, and that will just be it for me. So we can do this, but again, sometimes we want to just demarcate. So let me do something here. There's sometimes I want to just add extra thing to the chart. So I'm picking the line here, the line tool, and I just click and hold on the shift key. I click and drag to draw the line, and here I'm going to shape outline. From there I pick the line thickness, anyone I want to use, and here now I'll pick the weight. So I'm going to pick the dashes just like what I have here. You can see exactly what I have. Let me say I'm going to pick another color, another dashes, beg your pardon. So I'm going to use this now. So sometimes we have this, like I don't even need this border, so I will also go here and say no line for this one. So you see exactly what I have on this chart now. I can just click here to deal with this alone, and I'm keeping it at this point. So I can now come here to shape, from shape outline, and I'm giving it a color. So that allows us to be able to control it, and you can see exactly what we have there, and it works just fine. It is so it allows you to do different things. Sometimes you even want to do the format, maybe you just want to add a little color to it, and you just want to add a little color to it, where you just say, okay, maybe like this border here, you want to just make it a little bit light, a color, not the one that comes with the chart. So you can easily do it. Probably I want to pick this color here, but I want it to be very light, just like we talked about. And here I can just take it up and take it down here, just like what we have here. So that will just be part of your chart if you so want it to be, or you just want to make it transparent. You can control the transparency, and that leaves it, and it's just that way. So there are different ways you can actually engage the drawings, and they are very, very important. Okay, so let's go for another example before we take questions. Now here, sometimes we build dashboards, and then sometimes we want to do borders. Sometimes you don't even dashboard. Even when you're working in the corporate sector, most times you need to lift your company's letterhead and put on your worksheet. It's common. It's a common practice where you need to do in Excel. You can lift your company's letterhead and put on the worksheet. So how would I now lift my company's letterhead and put on the worksheet? It's easy. Like, it's easy. Let's assume I'm doing I'm trying to find a particular I'm trying to find okay, let me use the cash tracking sheet for one of our lessons here. Okay, now for example, let's assume I have this cash tracking sheet here, and I want to print my company's letterhead on it. How would I do that? There are different ways. Some people will just do and adjust the setting when printing. Some people would always want to fix their company's letterhead on the top and then print it out that way. Now the letter option, all you have to do here is also select, and then we insert some new rows, and you can see exactly what I have here. Meanwhile, I just press Ctrl Shift and plus key to have the new rows. So all I have to do now is to lift the company's letterhead. So let's assume that I hope you can still see my screen. Kindly confirm.
Yes, I see.
Okay, thank you, sir. Now, so let's assume this will be the company's logo. Thank you very much, sir. So let's assume this will be the company's logo. I'll just leave this. It could just be a company, it could just be for an organization, it could just be for a business, it can just be anything. So I'm lifting this, I'm putting it here. I can reduce the size. Remember, we said Control and Shift key to reduce the size. And if we do that, we can also reduce the font size on this one there to allow everything to show. So again, by reduce it here, Control and Shift. You kindly mute your microphone, sir. So we can just reduce it here, and then just allow this to be. So from this point now, I'll just keep it here, and that will just be it. That's the first thing. Normally, when we work with this kind of thing, we take up the grid line so that you're not confused. So from here, let's assume that this is just the one. So anyhow you want it to be, whether you want to use the text, the word art, just like what we have under insert, we go to word art, and then you just come here. I even remember a question that somebody asked, and I think we're going to look at that. So here I will just come here if I want to put the company's letterhead or the company's name. So let's assume the company is All Excel Learners Nigeria Limited. So if this is going to be the company, okay, we can just keep it here, and we do what we did the other time. If we want to change the color, okay. If we so want to take off all of this, or probably reduce the effects, like the shadow, since the shadow is too big, so let's go over to the shadow and see the shadow that is being used. If we go to shadow options, we have the option to control the shadow here. The size is too big, we can reduce the size to probably 50 and use. Let me reduce the angle a little. I can reduce it a little, maybe the distance to maybe like 2 points or 1 point or whatever I want it to be. I can just reduce it. So if this is going to be the case, I'll just reduce the font size, and then I'm taking it here. I can just keep it where I want it to be. So again, you're keeping it at this point, and then you're taking it up, and that would just be it. So it could just be part of what you want to print. Let's assume you want to print it now, Control P or Control F2. We'll just have here, and this is exactly what will be printed if it's actually printed out. So this is the aspect that the drawings always come in. For example, now I want both sides to be arranged properly. I can just select this, hold down the shift key, click on this, and then we'll go to shape format. From format, we'll go to align. From align, we can say align middle, and all of them just align at the proper area. You understand now? So for example, this place now I can have another object. Sometimes we see us design something like, okay, I can just come down to shapes, from shapes, and I pick something like this. I click and drag here to draw, keep this one here, and I can go back to shapes again and pick the rounded rectangle. Under the rounded rectangle, I just keep it here. Probably I can just round this one a little how I want it to be. Okay, and then I'm keeping it at this point, or I want it to be on the same line. Probably just be on the same line here, and close this other one out a little if I so want it to be, or just let it be. So I'll just be giving it whatever color I want to give it. Let's say I want to give this color, and then I'll just say no outline. I'll close this one up. I'll probably use another one. I think this is not going to give me what I'm looking for, so let me go and pick another shape. There's another shape that will deliver this. Okay, this is the shape. I've seen the shape that will deliver it. Okay, so again, I want us to learn from this. So this now I'm going to flip it, so I can go to flip and flip vertically. So from here I would have this other side here, close it up here, no line, no fill color. Then I'll take this other one up to close it up a little. So I can just have something like this. If you want to stick to the color we'll be using, so that this could just be the color, probably another shape here, and then this other one, the original colors that we'll be using. What do we really want to do here? A lot of things can be done here. For example, I can come here now and say, okay, so let me call this, pick the text box, click and drag, and say balance up, for instance, and I'll just pick the text box. Again, the text box always comes with the shape field, so you have to say no fill color, no line color, except you really want it. But you know, the purpose is just to have the text. So I'll just come down to font size, give it whatever I want it to be, and make it align center, middle, and then bold it, and we'll take it up here. So if that's balanced up, I can now come to this other side now and choose whichever value I want to use. So whatever it is here, it can always be the thing that we want to use, you know, for this particular cell here, or want to pick balance up. So let's assume these are balanced up, so we pick this cell, now we press enter, and as the case may be, we choose a color, whichever color we want it to be. So you can see exactly what I have here, and sometimes we leave it here. It could just be part of, you know, the work that we are building, and that would just be, can just be part of your report, making it to just add a little beauty to it. So from here again, I'll just increase the size and then bold it, and probably just align it the way you want to be, and that will just be it. So, and you know, all of these are dynamic, just like we have this one. This one is dynamic. Let's assume that this guy here, we change this one now to 856,000. I say the value is too many here, so we press enter, and in such a situation we have to just increase that, and you see exactly what we have here. So anything I change here, what if I change this one now to 9? It will just change, and it's dynamic, and it could just be part. So there are just different aspects where you engage. There are different aspects you engage all of these tools here, and they are very, very very important. Very important. Very important. So now before we just open up for questions, where we're going to ask questions, I think there's question that somebody asked in one of the classes. So let me go to the other sheet and pick that. Somebody asked, how do we align charts? I think that was what the person asked, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, so if I have another chart here, let's pick another chart. Let's go to insert, and then let's just pick the pie chart, for instance. And you can see here is this one is blank, so we can go to select data and add the series name. This, hold down the control key, we click on this, then we'll come down to this and pick any one. Okay, let's use this. Now if I cut this chart here to that point where we have it in sheet 3 and I pressed it, somebody asks, how do we align the two? Okay, so assuming this guy is here and you want to align this particular one, you just click on this, you hold down the shift key, you click on this other one, you go to shape format, and then you go to align. I can align them at the bottom, and they both align at the bottom. You can align at the top, and they both align at the top. We can align at the left, we can align by the right, and they both align by the right. You can also align by the center. So that's exactly how it is. Now if you have questions, please just start doing can you please do alignment with these charts? I've done that. I think that was the question Emmanuel asked. I can't view your Excel screen. I hope that's only with one person. Please confirm if you can view my screen. Somebody is saying you can't view my screen. Okay, so now this will just be it. Emmanuel, I've answered your question now. Again, everything we did in this other one is the same thing. Now for the charts, there's what we call the exploded. If you want to do it, just click and drag. We can always get this. Just for the pie chart, you can just click and drag, and then you'll have this exploded as the way it is. Again, if you want to do the same thing like we did to the other one, can say no outline, and then we'll have no outline. You can also go to the fill and say no fill, and that will just be it. So you see exactly what we have here. Now we've been able to, I think I've answered that particular question. Now let's see other questions that we have. Okay, so